Right? And I brought these glasses. These are the glasses that I wore on Britain's Got Talent. And I'll tell you how egotistical I did get. I brought these and I had to have some, I was ages without them. And I was really angry with myself for breaking them because I had to wear some others. I thought, with my mask as well, people aren't going to recognise me. And I was gutted. They won't know who I am. And I'm like, it's me! Get different glasses on! It's me! That's me on the magazines! Me on telly last night!
How long have you worked in Blackpool for now? Like how many years?
Well, this is my 19th panto there, yeah.
Because your head's been up around Blackpool for 19 years, hasn't it?
It's shocking, isn't it?
Do you ever go into Blackpool? Like apart from like...
Yeah, I do. Not usually for work purposes. I'll occasionally get invited. I get invited to a lot of stuff at Blackpool. For like season launches and new shows that are going on in the town, right? So I go.
Because it's got like Blackpool's one of them, isn't it? Like for people that aren't from for everyone in the north knows Blackpool, don't they? But if you're like not from there, if you went there, it'd just blow your mind, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, the weird thing. I always say the best thing is to do is drive down the road, not the front. Don't drive in the prom because you'll see what you expect to see.
Yeah.
If you're driving the next road back, you'll see what you don't expect to see. They're just like
heroin addicts.
Yeah, it's strange amusement arcades mixed with really burger bars that you think that's not even meat they're serving. What are you? Do you know what I mean? It's just a bizarre, and people coming out of these places and the characters.
They're trying to make it more family orientated now, aren't they? Like I've noticed that. Yeah. I think all the strip bars.
I've not. Yeah, I think so.
I don't know why I'm asking.
I don't know why.
How many of the shots do? I don't know why.
I don't know why. As
if you got the file.
I didn't even think about that because there used to be that one that no one ever knows about. I assume they have. Yeah, you don't see it as.
Because there used to be one opposite the Coddle Island, didn't there?
But again, you see, the thing is, I'm always there in the winter, aren't I? Doing pantomime, so a lot of it's kind of closed anyway. I mean, off season, if you like.
You still get winter creeps though, won't you? That still want to lap dance.
Yeah. Oh, you still, yeah. And you still get, weekends, you still get stag do's and stuff like that.
It's a weird one though in Blackpool, the dynamic of it. It's weird because if you've been in a strip bar, I went in with mates, got dragged in. Yeah. You can walk out of there like 2:30 in the afternoon, can't you? Yeah. And then there's families going by with like kiss me quick hats on. You've got grandmas on the hen do's.
When you mention about old clothing and stuff like that, it's weird that we lived through that really in history. Such a brief period of history where these things were just like normal, because growing up you never hear something. You hear about them in America and stuff, but never in England. And suddenly you got like what they call the platinum, whatever it's called, and then the B Stringfellows place in London.
Yeah.
You get those coming up, and then they started going in more provincial towns, and every town would have its local strip club and stuff. And now it's going the opposite, and they're all shutting down again.
Well, it's like frowned upon now, isn't that what I mean? Like that.
That's what I mean. In terms of myself and my mates, we're in a perfect time to be having stag do's, weren't we? It must be. They're so boring, stag do's nowadays.
Well, it's weird though in Blackpool, because what we used to do, like when we were like 17, 18, I think the novelty goes after that, didn't it? I think we only went once or twice, and it was basically just to say you went in. We were going in with like teddies, we'd gone in Coddle Island. So you'd go in with like a big squid or something like that, wouldn't you? Walk in, you're like, oh my God, she's got her boobs out like that, and you're like, how naive, and like, it's a definite age thing, isn't it? Like, I think it's like a American Pie generation, isn't it? Like we grew up thinking, oh.
I remember my brother's stag do, and he got married way before me. It was sort of about early 1990s, and we were in. I thought we've got to be Blackpool. That's the only place I could think of at the time. We got more exotic later on. And I once took my mate on a easy cruise as it was. We went to Monte Carlo and stuff. But my brother's stag do, we did go to Blackpool, and I booked a room. I thought we'll get a couple of strippers on, and we'll have the topless wrestling, and then this mud wrestling rink. And basically hired these girls let's be honest, they weren't the best looking.
No.
They were the more. They were like yourself, they're into the rugby and stuff, you know. But they were stocky little lasses, and they basically just beat the shit out of all me and my mates.
Well,
because I'd organised it, I didn't want to get involved, so I was the referee.
We went with my mate Kegs's, and it was weird because we went in a bar and we didn't know it was a strip. It was like a karaoke / strip bar. Oh. And me and my mate Anthony, he was the best man at the time, went up to the front and she went, oh, what do you want, karaoke or strippers? It's like 2:30 in the afternoon on a Friday, and we were like,
I'll tell you what I want to do, I want to sing to a stripper.
And we were like, well, there was no strippers in there, there was no poles or all like that. We're like, oh, well, he just said, oh, we'll have the stripper. She had a Reebok jumper on, and she went, all right. She took her jumper off, and she went, it'll take us 15, 20 minutes. We're like, what's that going to happen? She just texts these people come, and like you said, they just came. This woman had teeth missing from there all the way back to her mouth. Oh. And she's going, it comes in handy, and we were like, oh, get out, you know, like you're like trying to nail your pint, and they were like, you better get it.
People sometimes ask me what the most intimidating or worst gig, because it's the most common question for any comedian to get asked. Yeah. What's the worst gig you've ever had? And again, going back to before I did normal stand-up, and I just used to do a juggling act, and there's a guy called Clive Webb. And Clive Webb became famous with Tiswas back in the day because he was a magician on there alongside the Phantom Flamflinger and all these with Chris Tarrant and all them. Do you remember? You probably seen.
I can remember Chris Tarrant. Yeah.
But anyway, he was on it, and Clive Webb then went into doing magic, and he started to specialise again in that brief period where this thing was kind of acceptable. A blue magic show, he called it. But basically, it was like normal magic. But every time a woman appeared out of a box or something, she'd be topless, right? Yeah. And he phoned me up one night, because I'd done other gigs for him and stuff, and he went, hey Steve, are you free tonight? So a gig in what's it, near, I'm forgetting the name of the place now, sort of, not Cleethorpes, down near, it's Crooked Spiral, it's got a crooked spire, it's on near Sheffield. Chesterfield, well done, it was. He says, he's got this club in Chesterfield, the Aquarius Club it was called. He says, I'm doing the blue magic show. One of my strippers has pulled out. Could you fill it? I went, for a stripper? I said, what do you mean stripping? He went, no, I just need a 15-minute gap to fill some entertainment. I said, what's it for? It's 500 blokes. And me, in my naivety, went, I'll do that. So I went along, and I remember there was something like the UK Centrefolds or something they were called, and they all did their quite a classy stripping act, and then they had another stripper on, and he says, right, Tina's finished now, you go and bring her off. I went, what? He went, no, bring her off stage. All right, okay, bring her off stage, right? He says, and then just do 15 minutes, and then introduce me at the end. So I went on, and this poor girl there, bless her, she's done all the strip, can hear all the crowd. Honestly, 500 blokes, full. It was full, this place. And they're all, hey, walk me. And then she does a bow or whatever they do, right? She's there picking up her clothes, literally picking up all the bits she'd scattered. And then I had to walk on. I said, just gentlemen, wasn't it? Gentlemen, lovely Tina. Lovely Tina. Everyone applauded like that. And then I just went, right, who wants to see some juggling? And just 500 blokes just went, fuck off.
Not worse, is it?
And I just stood there going, oh God, I've got 15 minutes now of trying to fill in. And I used to do a thing where I still do it occasionally in pantomime, get the audience split up to moo, bar and quack, and then conduct them all in an animal chorus. And I just had them doing swear words instead. So foot, piss, twat, and then I just sang Christmas carols with words like that. So you go, fuck, twat, twat, piss, twat, twat, piss, piss, and all they loved it. I did about 15 minutes of that and then got off stage.
Well, that's what I said to Chris and that. I've never seen you struggle in a show. Like everyone, no matter who you've seen, like TV accent, you've normally been with someone and thought, they're on a fucking nightmare. Because everyone likes different things, don't they? Say with comedy act and stuff like that. But I was saying the time when we done a show and the lead from the wall was about this long and they were like 40 metres that way and like everyone died and I went, hey Steve, good luck. And you done it without the mic. I went, why didn't you go closer? I thought, why the fuck didn't I think of that? Just do it without the microphone.
Just experience doing it. Like that. I mean, I've been doing it a long time now. I still know one of your gigs is one of the worst though. When I did the gig for some rugby club, and just as I went on, all of a sudden, I don't remember it. They were interviewing two lads from Wigan. Two of the Wigan, Sean something or other, and
Sam Tompkins.
That's it. Yeah. And they ended their spot by doing the interview. You did a cracking interview with them, and they said, right, if anyone wants photos now, we'll be back at room. And they went, ladies and gentlemen, while we're doing that, here's Steve. I'm going, you've just sent everyone to the back of the room. So the people, and then I went on.
About 11:30 at night, wasn't it?
And within seconds, the sound system had gone down, so I had no sound system. And I just remember at the end of that night walking out to a chorus of, oh shit, and you know you are. But even then, you know, because it doesn't happen very often, I loved it. I was laughing so much inside. It was so funny.
Them Sportsman Evening aren't set up for comedians, are they? Like, I don't know why people put them on. Like, I would never put a comedian on the Sportsman's Evening anymore. Literally, because the fellas are like that. When you go on, like, better be fucking good. Like, it's just like normally comedy, they're on your side, aren't you? Like, we're all gonna have a laugh. Where it's like,
also they called it an after dinner, that event, an after dinner event. You go, the dinner consists of some bloke coming in with a tray of sandwiches, you know, with a plastic lid that they've got some wholesalers around the corner.
Put the comedian on last after the person they've come to see, and you like put them on first, give them a fighting chance. Otherwise, just don't fucking bother. Otherwise, like you say, I've seen some people have. Well, that's like a different sort of comedy, is that after dinner speaking, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've all got the same half an hour. If you go and listen to after dinner speakers, you're like, oh, he's got the same joke as him.
But then again, you see, you go back to these things, and these are the ones you learn from. And these are like going back years ago, I learned very quickly from that one in front of all them fellas. And when I did the Britain's Got Talent, obviously the semi-final and the final, it was in the pandemic year in 2020, and we didn't know all the way through. We didn't really know whether to have an audience or no audience, and in the end, it was a Zoom audience, which meant nothing because it just meant there was people in the telly in a background. You couldn't entertain them. You couldn't really use them. I utilised them a little bit, a few gags about my dad not being able to log onto the system, etc. But the way I handled it is going right back to when I used to do medieval banquets, because I used to entertain a lot of them, and sometimes
you're at Camelot, weren't you?
Yeah, I was at Camelot for years. Yeah. And when I used to do medieval banquets, occasionally, most of them, they just turn into like food riots, because people used to go to medieval and think, oh, it's where they throw food, everyone throws food, and they just think that's normal. Yeah. So you'd be on there, and you know, I'd be trying to do my juggling act, and a chicken wing would go past my head, you know what I mean? Next thing, a Charlie cake whizzed past me, and I'm trying to do my act, and so the heckling never ever bothered me. But when I did the BGT, on occasions like that, you'd find a table of some nice people, of about 4 people on one table, who actually were there for the entertainment, and you'd end up going over to them just to entertain them. And that's how I did it. I had to get into that mindset of entertaining the corporate, if you like, that after dinner gig where no one's listening apart from a few people. Just entertain them.
How come you done it that year? Because I'm sure you'll have been asked every year since it started. How come you done it that year?
For 8 years they asked it. 8 years ago, I'll say maybe 10 years ago now, but when I finally did it, I'd caved in. Because I can tell, because I've got the messages from one of the producers, and he used to message me every single year. Yeah. After the first year when I was going to do it, and at the very last minute they pulled me from the show and said, oh, we don't think we want you on this year, we do it for next year instead. I said, well, if you pull me now, I said, I'm unlikely. I said, you messed me about a lot. I'd been for meetings in London and all sorts. They said, if you don't put me on the show this year, I won't do it again. Anyway, they didn't. And then next year, inevitably phones me. Eventually, he came up to Manchester. We had a meeting there. He said, "Oh, please do. I think you do really well. And you know, we promise. You know, if it goes really badly, we won't show it on telly, or we won't. You know, no, there's no guarantees of it or anything like that. I know people talk about, you know, oh, you will guarantee you to get this far. And there's nothing like that. But what they do guarantee is at least if you do really badly, they won't show on the telly.
Because they used to have tumbleweed, didn't they? Like newer acts would go on it, and that'd be like, oh.
It's harder for comics. It's harder for them to attract comics onto that show, because it is such a hard medium for comics to get their act across anyway.
Especially a juggling dog or something.
As well. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I mean.
Well, I actually texted him one of the years I felt awful afterwards when I finally done it and done so well. I found one of my messages to him. He said, how about this year? This is about 4 or 5 years ago. And I went, I'll come back to you as soon as I can learn how to juggle with puppies. Or something like that. And then that was it. That was the end of that communication that year. And then eventually what finally caved me in was, first of all, 2020. I thought, oh, that's got a good ring to it. I reckon it's going to be a good year. Yeah. I was a bit wrong on that one, wasn't I? Right, so 2020. And then the second thing was the pantomime that I did in Blackpool. It was at the Grand Theatre. It's a lovely little theatre, beautiful theatre, and I've done there for 19 years. And suddenly, the big theatre, the Opera House, decided they were going to put on a panto against us. So they got Shirley Ballas was going to be in it, Cinderella, and they announced it just as we opened our pantomime the year before, so it'd be the Peter Pan of 2019. And so there's all this hype about this pantomime coming to town. So it's going to be Battle of the Pantos with a 3,000-seater venue against the 1,000-seater venue, and who's going to win, and I just thought, you know what, all I can do here is give us as much publicity as we possibly can. So I'm going to cave in for the sake of panto, and I'm going to do Britain's Got Talent and give myself 5 minutes of TV promotion so I can promote the panto. And then, obviously, what happened, I never imagined. First of all, to get to the semi-final, then that semi-final being dragged on to September, and then October before we did the final. It's normally over and done with by May.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so it basically took up the whole of 2020 and ended up with, now being, Britain's third most talented man for a brief period for 2 years. I held the title for 2 years because I didn't do it last year in 2021, did they?
Well, I can remember being on because it's the only time I ever watched it. I remember because you were on, I thought, I'll have to watch because Steve's on and stuff like that. Because I was like you, with the comedians, you always just see it stitching them up, didn't they? Yeah. And like, oh, that's terrible. And you can make a comedy go down. Like, comedy's not like music, you can't just go on, it's going to be all right. Comedy has to be set up.
Well, it's the timing as well. The time is so critical. And when you're on stage, sometimes you can do a gag and if there's an editor in a studio afterwards and they go, oh, there's a bit of pause there, I'll cut that pause out.
Yeah.
I'll cut that. I don't think he needs that line there. Oh, he's only doing some waffle. But that waffle, that little mumble that he might make, might be key to the gag. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's the reason I did it, really.
What was Simon Cowell like?
He's the one, because he ended up injuring himself, fell off his bike, so I never really met him properly, apart from the bits on stage, but it was lovely. But I did meet his brother. His brother works for some magazine and did an interview with him. And it was weird because he sounds exactly the same. So I got this phone call for this magazine interview, and it's just basically Simon Cowell on the phone.
But he doesn't look like him though, does he?
I don't know. I don't even know what he looks like, to be honest. I don't know.
Right.
Probably his trousers slightly lower.
Oh, it's his face now, isn't it? His face. I don't know.
The higher the trouser.
Look on Netflix now. That picture they've got of his face. It looks like when you've been for a night out and you've had too many, and like you're trying to look sober, and you think, fucking hell, it must be.
I have to say the rest of them, all of them were brilliant though, and also I suppose we got to know them a little bit better because
they had to carry the show a bit more, didn't they?
Well, we were just in a studio filming the semi-final and the final itself. We just literally, all the crew were there with masks on and, you got the cameraman, but it's a silent studio and there's only them four sat at a table and you'd have to set up, but when you got an act like mine, you've got to make sure all your props, etc. in the right position. So there's Amanda Holding, all right, Steve, how are you doing? You ready? You ready for it? And I go, yeah, ready for it. Oh, good luck. And David Williams, loveliest fella.
I was just going to say, they seem all right. Like, it's weird because I don't think you can hide.
Alicia kept singing this song to me, which I've still not looked up. It's some reggae classic or something that she was really, she used to sing it every time she saw me. She just go, Steve Royle, he's Royle, Steve Royle, and sing this song to her. And I've not to look, I've written down where it's from, and I've got videos of her singing it to me and that. But yeah, she was brilliant. And then I was Ashley Banjo, of course, who stepped in as well.
Oh, did I? Yeah.
And,
yeah.
In fact, my episode, the semi-final, was the one that caused all the controversy because they did. And it's mad because I was there watching them do this filming of because they got diversity on the first semi-final, and they did this all with the Black Lives Matters. And it ended up being the most controversial thing on. And I'm just watching it, going, flipping it, they're good, aren't they? I just sat, because it wasn't aired for another week. It didn't go out on telly. Yeah. So I'd seen it and thinking nothing. And then a week later, the Twitter and all social media is going absolutely mad about Ashley Banjo says this, and then the viewing figures for my episode was just something like 10 to 12 million people, something like that, who watched it. But then because of that, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, well, you're watching me as well, aren't you? So.
Does it feel weird though, that, because you went from like normal comedian doing the panto and that to that? Was there a bit of a culture shock or something like that? Because I said to my missus, if it had to be someone, it'd be all right for you, because you haven't got them skeletons in there. It's not like you've killed prostitutes or all like that.
I think that's why I did so well, because I went on it, and I said from the moment I agreed to do it, I thought, if I'm doing this, I'm doing it to enjoy it. I've done TV stuff in the past and not enjoyed it. And I felt the pressure of the gig, if you like, and I thought, I'm going to laugh with it, and I'm going to be nice to everyone, be lovely, and I will laugh with everybody. And it worked, to be fair, because every like I say, with the judges, right down from the judges, right to the people who make the cups of tea, and the runners and researchers on the programme. But what I did find, what did surprise me, was what a family atmosphere it is on that programme.
Right.
It wasn't so, in terms of like you say, did it feel like egotistical or anything like that? Did it feel like it? But No, because it just felt like we were all mates, and all the acts involved in the final, especially, we all still keep in touch. Got a big WhatsApp group, and we'll still send each other messages. How are you doing? And right down from John, who won it, like up to to all the other contestants are in it. It's fascinating watching that, because that's the other beautiful thing about, and this is another reason why I love doing pantomime. When I do pantomime every single year, I mix with people who don't do what I do.
Ah,
You know what I mean? But still very talented people, do you know what I mean? So when you do stand-up comedy, as well we know, you go to a club somewhere and you meet another stand-up comedian, and there's a little bit of you, no matter whether you admit to it or not, that's going, I hope he's not as good as me. I hope he's better. There's a little bit of that. Do you know what I mean? There's a little
It
bit
is a weird atmosphere with the comedians,
and you still chat, and then they go on and they do well, and you think, well, I've got to be as good as that, and you go on and you do, you're all right. But then, and then you could become pals with some because you gig more often with them. There's others that you gig with once and you don't see for 10 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what happens at pantomime, and same as what happens on Britain's Got Talent, is all these different industries. So you've got singers and dancers and actors and other specialty acts. They all get together for this one time at Christmas in terms of pantomime. They all get together and you banter and and there's not that little threat, you see. You have mutual respect for what they do. There's also the interest and curiosity about their side of the industry, like of show, what we call show business, right? So you have the interest of that, but there's none of that jealousy or worry that they're going to get bigger laughs than you or more respect than you, because you've all got your place in the grand scheme.
Well, it's always random. If you look at them panto posters, it's always like, oh, they've got Lee Ryan on, they've got Kerry Katona, they've got Dave Benson Phillips, Steve Royle. It's always the most random people.
And even more so now, I mean, people knock, and I've done it myself in the past, thinking, reality TV stars who went on some, they were on The Place on the Sun or something like that, and they were a bit of a character, so we've got them now, and they're in Cleethorpes pantomime this year, and you go, well, and people go, well, they should never have been, but good on them, they're taking up, all these people are doing is seizing an opportunity that's been given them. And you can't knock them for that. You can't knock them for seizing that opportunity, which again goes back to your question, a long way of answering your question about whether it affected me in any way, that doing Britain's Got Talent. Do you know what the biggest shock of the whole experience has been? It wasn't immediate. It wasn't when it went out on telly, because we were all straight in lockdown, weren't we? So I didn't get the recognition. It was horrible, really. Think about it, because we went out the final, for example. It was funny going in. I did go into a supermarket quite deliberately just to browse the magazine shelf, because they're all geared up for the final week. So there's a picture of me on every magazine cover.
But you never went in.
Oh, I did.
I was just going to say, I just leaned in again.
I didn't go in. Well, that's what I did. I went in just to see.
What's that for?
But at the time, you like that, stood with the magazines with other people looking at them, but you've got a mask on, haven't you? Right? And I brought these glasses. These are the glasses that I wore on Britain's Got Talent, and I'll tell you how egotistical I did get. I brought these, and I had to have some. I was ages without them. And I was really angry with myself for breaking them, because I had to wear some others. I thought, with my mask as well, people aren't going to recognise me. And I was gutted. They won't know who I am. And I'm all, it's me! I've got different glasses on! It's me! That's me on the magazines! Me on telly last night!
Should have just been stood outside it with the magazine like that. Oh, me? Oh, embarrassing again. Like that, just signing your own copies.
What is fascinating, again, it goes back to the mask thing. When we found our restrictions lifted, and I met up with you. I met up in Cumbria, just as we were allowed in beer gardens that first week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And from
you had to have a meal with your pint, wasn't it? Or something mental like that.
We could take your masks off, and suddenly people started recognising me. And that's when I went, oh, wow, this is a bit weird, isn't it? This is a bit odd, but the biggest difference of all of it is the respect, and I have to be honest, the money. What people will offer you for gigs once you've done a programme of that level. Because it's massive. You don't realise how big it is as well, that programme. Well, I certainly didn't.
When I met you in Sembees, on my Facebook, someone had put on, your mate off Emmerdale. I've just seen thing off Emmerdale, Steve Roller in the beer garden thing, and people comment, which bit? And you thought, fuck it, I've just been there, and like, it was just dead bizarre.
And I turn up at gigs, even now, I'll turn up at gigs, and because the programme is so loved, there are people waiting there with they'll have like pictures I haven't even seen of myself. So a lot of them, they'll freeze, a lot of them, they're not normal. A lot of them will freeze frame a picture of the telly, and then so they can have a unique photo of you and take a picture of that, and then they'll print that off, and then they'll give you that. Can you sign that? And you go, where's this picture from? This grainy picture of me and Britain's Got Talent, and you realise what they've done. It's just some freeze frame off the telly. But there's fans out there of the programme and worldwide as well. I get messages from India. There's a guy from India who kept messaging me all the time. I was stupid. I was so naive at the
Wasn't
beginning.
a scammer, was he? I get a few of them.
Anyway, his uncle's a prince, though.
Yeah.
And I'm giving him some money, and he's going to come over. But the beauty is, what you don't realise, John, he's loaded.
Yeah.
And he's going to give me the money back, but 10 times. Good that, innit, John?
Well, it's weird because I say them programmes. You watch them, it's like daytime TV. We'd what's that programme? In the morning, it's about scammers and stuff, isn't it? You've got women on there. Yeah. That's so, like. It's the best ones when it's them fat women and young men are messaging them from like Kenya and stuff like that, 21-year-olds, and they're like, I didn't think anything wrong. And I thought, you didn't think anything wrong? You're 55, obese, and a 21-year-old ripped wants to you know what I mean? Like, they must have been like, that's a red flag, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're thinking, did you not? But they have a lot of the times. It's the same as when you look at, and that's one of the downsides, I suppose, of doing anything that gets such attention. But when I was doing Britain's Got Talent, you'd Google yourself and you get loads of lovely compliments, and then you start seeing the horrible ones.
Yeah.
You know, not funny at all, I'm bitter. But you invariably, you zoom, you
only go to the bad ones, don't you?
You look at those people who are 2 followers, 3 followers, 1 follower, the lonely people. And that's how they're searching for their place in life, if you like, is to have digs and criticise.
But that's social media. We were talking about this before, me and Jack and Chris, saying like, you could put anything on and you get grief. Like, you could put on like, nice weather today, and someone like, it's a tsunami in Malaysia, it's a bit, and you're like, fucking hell.
It's a bit insensitive to mention this when there's a tsunami going on.
People are you have a bit of respect, like, fucking hell, delete that sort of thing. And because we were from that generation before social media, I think we just find it so bizarre, don't we? Like, I look at that and I just think, like, I find myself not putting anything on, I think, I just can't be arsed with the fucking hassle. And
I got kind of hardened to it, going back to my days when I worked at BBC Radio Lancashire, because you used to get texts. That's when people text the show, text the programme, and I think people think that there's some kind of, that you won't see all the texts, because there'll be a producer and they'll come in and give you a piece of paper. And some respects, it's true, they do guide you through them, but you still see them all flash up on a screen in front of you. And you get this idiot off the airwaves. He's ruining my Saturday morning and all that kind of thing. And at first, when you're not used to that, and you've never experienced that, it's horrible, because you're thinking. Because you know yourself, and you know what kind of, and certainly someone like me, I am a nice guy, and you're going, but you don't know me, why are you being so horrible? And sometimes people can be so horrible.
Well, I can remember texting there, when we used to travel, we'd work, me and John Woodhouse, we'd go from Cumbria to London, this is where we work, sort of thing. So you could text in the radio station, and they sometimes ring you back, don't they? I think it was pushy parents. I texted in saying my dad made me play darts 9 hours a day. And honestly, a producer rang us right back, oh, do you want to go live on the air? So there's I've got it at home, a video clip me pretending my dad pushed me that hard at dart. I wasn't allowed to be dinner if I didn't get 4 180s, and like, lad was going, that's terrible, that's absolutely, like, I was just on the phone like that.
That's brilliant.
And he was saying, what happened in the end? And I said, well, it made my love of darts go away. And I said, but Phil Taylor's come and done an exhibition recently, and I blitzed him. Like, went for it, and they went, oh, so we might see you. And I said, yeah, but I got dartists, you know, where you can't release the dart because I practiced too much. And like, I felt dead bad because like the psychologist.
What's it called, dartist?
Dartist is when you can't let go of the dart. Yeah, it's like it's all in the mind. I worked with a guy that
and that's from regularly playing darts. So darts players get that. Has it ever happened in mid competition? Like, no, this double top now for the £50,000.
Eric Bristow did, that's why he was like champion, wasn't he? And then he fell off. He got dartist or dartitis or something like that. It's like you go to throw it and your arm locks. We actually done like a Lal Philharmonic because I worked with a guy.
You've got clamped forever. So now when every meal he has to eat it with 2 darts.
Well, the guy I worked with.
Peas would be a nightmare, wouldn't they? I mean, you always mash your peas onto a fork or split, but you'd have to eat one at a time. It's dinner. Just little, hey, dart hands, come here. D'Artagnan, you'd call him, wouldn't you? That is a big nickname at school.
Well, the guy I worked with, he used to practice by holding nettles. Because he got to number 32. He was on BBC.
All right,
so he'd let go of it. And he was putting his darts in boiling water. So he was going, like that. But like,
so he never suffered from it.
I wouldn't.
He go, like.
No, he had it. That's what he's trying to get rid of it. So so he was like, that's how I know about it, because he was labouring on the same building site as me, and he was like, I'm trying to get rid of this Darteast, and he was like, I was, what the fuck's Darteast? And he was like explaining. I said, it's all in my mind. I said, I just practice too much. Now I can't let go of it.
Car battery with darts right up, so he go. I
was what he was basically just trying to, like, anything red hot, he'd just pick up and you're like, fucking hell.
That's fantastic.
Honestly, 100% a real.
My wife, funny enough, I'm sure she won't mind us saying it, but she once had we got out of a bath too quickly, really, very hot bath as well, and she had a dizzy spell. She fell, bumped her head, and she thought she'd had a heart attack, a stroke. So but the panic of that brought on a genuine panic attack. And what happens, and I just didn't know, but she started going, I can't feel my arms, and her arms locked like that, in that kind of, like a claw, like two
T-Rex.
claws. So she lay, T-Rex hand, and she lay on the bed like that, and I phoned the ambulance, and they guided me through it. Is she all right? Can she speak? And she says, well, her speak's a bit slurred, but the fact was she was just dopey and having this panic attack, and the fear was like exacerbating it, if you like. But I was fearful thinking. And I said to when the paramedic finally turned up, I said, "What can that?" She said, "Well, sometimes she could stay like that, for days. In fact,
you think about making a Tinder?"
All I thought was just going, "You're just gonna have sweet corn, love," because it's all I could think. You know what I mean? To feed her.
Yeah.
If her hands like that, I thought I'm gonna have to every day just be boiling sweet corn and come here, love, slotting it into her little hands, and she'd going, nibbling it, and then I'll turn it round for her. I thought ahead. Let me turn that first, sweetheart. And she'd be like that with her little T-Rex arms, like that, eating another.
I thought you meant you were going to dump her, she's going to be like that for... I know it's been 25 years, I'm not putting up with that.
Oh, it's too much bitterness to dump her, mate. You've got to take advantage for at least 15 years before you do something like that.
Well, I feel like if I seen my bird doing that in the bathroom, you'd laugh first. It sounds awful to say, but you'd just be like, oh, no.
You do, though.
Well, that's what I mean, like, you'd just be like, oh, I fell over, have you? And
this is what's crazy at the moment. I don't know when this will go out, but we talk about, without bringing too morbid, but with the Queen's death and stuff, and people saying, comedy should be banned and stuff. You can't ban an involuntary action. Laughter is such an involuntary thing. You don't choose to. All right, you choose to go to a comedy. I'll admit that. But what you actually laugh at, you can't censor. That's
we were talking about the somber tone people have on the news. If it's about the Queen, it could be like it could be like 30 kids have died in Asia, and then they're like normal voice, and then the Queen's casket. Why are you not sad about the 20 kids in it? Like it only comes on for that the Queen bit, and you're like, how long?
But this is again the what generation we're living in now. Is people are overthinking all the time.
Yeah.
So and as a result of the overthinking, they then probably overreact in the try to show the sentiments more, if you know what I mean. So I say, I'm with everyone else. I'm just like you, that kind of thing. You know.
Norwich, I think did you say that where Norwich, like you can't park your bike out of respect for a thing like?
I'm sure those are jokes, aren't they?
I think that's real. And that woman in the corgi group, did you say that?
Yeah.
Saying my corgi hasn't been
the same since. Yeah, that I believe that.
That's what I mean. I just think but you don't know if these are real people or stuff like that, or I just think, is that a real person? You always click on I was saying beforehand, the mentalist comment me and Auntie seen once. Who's the lasso on this morning? She's used to be on with
Holly Willoughby.
No, the dark hair, she's like older.
Oh, the Christine, is it like Christine Lampard do that? I don't watch it.
I don't watch it, just because I seen the comment.
Your wife puts it on.
And she put on, like, she was out for a drive, and she put, like, I'm sure she put a picture of us going out for a drive. Basically, she's just out for a drive. And he commented saying, if I was in a car with you and you farted, I'd wind the windows up. And we were like, clicked on his profile, he had family and that, you're like, what? Like a real person, you're like, what?
And he said,
it's just like, if you farted in my car, I'd wind the windows up. And we were like looking, thinking, that's a real guy, it just blew our mind. Like, status before that was out with the kids and stuff like that. You're like, what the fuck is going through your mind?
Incredible, isn't it?
Because people have just lost their mind on social media anyways, but...
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Let me think, talk about people, how they think, they always say, I know my granddad, he loved Twix bars, and just as we put the coffin in the back, and I saw Twix on the floor. It was Grandad.
Yeah.
I went to actually genuinely went to the statue unveiling, Bobby Ball's statue unveiling the other week.
Oh yeah.
Which is it's an amazing statue. It's in Lebbon St Anne's. It was a fabulous day as well. Lee Mack were there. It was a really, really good do. And I went for a walk that afternoon, and a butterfly. I thought anyone else, anyone a little bit more,
mental,
a
little bit more mental,
believing that, who really believed in all that. The signs, he'll send a sign. Bobby, send us a sign. A little butterfly landed right in the pavement path in front of me. That's Bob, and it had. I'll show you a picture of it. I've got it on my phone. It had little red stripes on its wings like that, just like his braces.
Goosebumps there. It's always right over the top, isn't it?
I actually did a tribute to the Bobby Ball Foundation to finance the statue. They did a show last November, and everyone did it. It was a brilliant show. They had Russell Watson on, Sheridan Smith, they had Jason Manford compared it. I turned up, and it was an absolutely, it was a brilliant night. But when I went on quite late on, and they'd give me a headset mic so I could do all my juggling and stuff. And I also wanted to tell a story about that Bobby Bob once told me. It was a very physical, animated story. I won't tell you that one, but I'm on stage, I'm doing this, and suddenly I feel this presence. And I've just told a story about Bobby, and I can feel this thing on my ear. It's just like a hand on my ear like that, and then a hand on my back. And I'm on stage talking, and I'm going, and anyone else feel that? And I'm genuinely thinking, Bobby's back. He's with me. He's backing me up here. He's accepting that I'm doing some material, and I'm like that thinking. And I've got this really strange feeling inside, going, I can feel his presence. And then I turn around. There's a sound engineer. Apparently, my backpack was playing up. The microphone was cutting out, and he was changing my backpack. So he's like that, and I saw him like that, and I called him out. I went, "Oh, you dick! You dickhead! I'm shitting you up here. There's 3,000 people in the Blackpool Parish. I'm trying to entertain them. You're down there. I'm thinking you're the ghost of Soddy Bobby Boy." Got a massive laugh, but God, for a split second, I'm there genuinely thinking his spirit is with us.
Well, I was thinking if that engineer wasn't there, I thought you were like actually thinking them cracks, but because I took the piss at the start, you think, I can't tell him that. But I'll do it sarcastically, sort of thing.
Exactly, yeah.
What were you like at school? I always ask that with comedians, because I like when I was at school, if you went back, they would be like, "Fucking, you're doing comedy now." You know what I mean? Like, were you one of them, or?
I was always a class clown, but not. I'll tell you the thing. I had mum and dad. My dad was a college lecturer. My mum was a teacher. So what I'd never had was a fear of teachers. And I think when you start at school, especially at junior school, you look at teachers and you think they're another breed because they're not what you're used to. Everything else in life, up until the point of starting school, everyone's been, "Oh, lovely, do you want to play? Playing with us," and everyone's encouraging you doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Suddenly you've got that bit of discipline in your life that you didn't expect from this one authoritative figure, and then you got the headmaster and stuff. But I always knew they were human, you see. So I always, and a lot of them knew my mum and dad.
They'll have been nicer to you,
So they'd be around at
though.
the weekend, and I go, she might be my teacher here, but she's Mrs. Jones at church on a Sunday morning, you know what I mean? And so I knew them, and so I think I was never fearful of them in that sense. So I'd crack jokes. I always remember, I did go back to junior school, so I think probably about 6 or 7 year old, and my parents going in, and the teacher just going, "Oh, you're Stephen. He's a lovely lad. He works so hard, but he's always making. He can't stop us making. He's always making us laugh." And when he does that Donald Duck, and I think this is like 6 or 7 year old, and I had a phrase whenever I used to get told off. They'd say, "Stephen, stop doing that," and I'd just go,
"Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect, miss. Nobody's perfect."
And they'd crack up because I'm doing my little Donald Duck impression to them. So yeah, and I was also the smallest. I was always that small kid. I don't imagine you ever were, John, were you? You always
You've seen that photo of when I do stand-up. When I was like, until I was about 11, I looked like what's that kid off the Goonies? Chunk.
Oh.
So it was like a 2 year. Like I get sent that photograph. I say twice a month in WhatsApp groups. That photo, and you're like, it's 25 years ago. We're gonna let this go. You know what I mean? No, school wasn't great for me. I was in all them back in the day there was no special class, was there? There was a special class, but you ranged from like people with handicapped.
Yeah, everyone were all in, so they all got
special class, ginger people, just all hiding, weren't they?
And it was free for all, wasn't it? Just defend yourself. But see, I think that's what I did, because I was the smallest in the class and a little kid with big ears, right? Although I've recently wondered, I've got a very small head. And I know this from social distancing. People used to stand a lot closer to me during social distancing in pandemic. And I go, why are you standing so close? They're 2 metres. You go, you're not 2 metres. But I think it's my head, because my head was so, they thought they were 2 metres away, you see. And that's what made me realise something wrong with my head. Then I started looking at photographs as well. And I'll stand in a line with people. And it looks like I'm...
It's just like a thumb coming out.
It looks like I'm a metre behind them. And I'm sure I was in line with them all. And I had that, but so I'm wondering whether I've actually got small, normal ears, right, with a small head, or have I got massive ears? Rather, I don't know.
So you could have went on to do something else? Because I always think like comedians and sportsmen, it's always like anyone you talk to that's done anything, it's always like, oh, what could you have been? Nothing else. It was either this or nothing.
So, I know it was always...
Because you and Dave have got decent qualifications, haven't you?
I did. Again, I think it was more to appease my parents, because, like I said, they've both been teachers and both... And I think it's easier now. You see successful comics on telly now, and stand-up comedy as well. And so it's an ambition. I see kids in comedy clubs now, 18, 19 old. Yeah. I'm going to be a stand-up comedian. It's never a job that you're desperate.
No, that's even like 10 years ago.
You never dream of it. No. It just wasn't. And if you mention it to someone, go, what you're really going to do. Especially at school. I grew up in quite a rough school, really. Mine growing up, I was one of the few who did go to university from it. And so it was always drilled in, just get your qualifications, worry about what you're going to do afterwards, get as many qualifications as you can. So, I went to university at Kent, I studied economic and social history.
Jesus.
But I've done very little material on the theories of liberalisation and the labour aristocracy with reference to events in Rochdale between 1840 and 1870. John never really captured the niche of the humour in
that will go down well in social clubs and that.
But if you do want a book, can I just recommend that you get to the Gulbenkian Library in Kent and check out a copy. Gripping stuff.
I knew you had decent qualification. I didn't know you had like a degree and stuff like that.
Only a 2-2.
We couldn't be like any different from our school. So, because in the school you went to that, it was like a careers day, wouldn't it? Yeah, you'd walk around the sports hall and get like leaflets and stuff like that, and then you'd meet a guy, wouldn't it? And your grade's determined, and then if you were clever, you were going in with like...
You just observe it. When computers very first came, I mean, the file all... I just imagined there were bigger buttons back then. I'm sure they did. So some guy would type, what you're good with, you're intelligent, right? You like, what do you things you like? You like sports, and then it'll just tell you, right, you're going to be a teacher. Every time it was a teacher.
Yeah.
But never stand-up comic, no matter what you put in there. You could say, sense of humour, good waking words up, good at telling stories, always like a laugh. Teacher.
Well, you'll have been alright because you'll have had the grades, but if you went without the grades, like I went up, what I mean, you're limited, like the file was just like, not that, and then like, do you like lifting stuff? Yeah. Do you like cleaning stuff? You're like, do you want to join the army? You were like 3 options, like.
It was shot at.
Oh yeah.
Or shat on. That's
well, my mate Anthony went in the forces, but they sell it like a beef a rep, don't they? Or they did it at our school. It's like, do you want to travel the world? And you're like, you know what I mean? Like, get to travel the world, meet friends, and you're like, get shot at, like whispered out, isn't it, sort of thing. You think, who's wanting to travel to Baghdad?
Yeah.
Or Afghanistan.
I mean, the bits about being shot at are never brought up.
No. You see the advert, he's on a night out, he's with friends, he's travelling the world. Nothing's like...
I was born in Grimsby, but I was made in the Royal Navy.
Well, Kevin Bridges does a bit, doesn't he? Where he's like always trying to get like the scruffier kids or like the rougher kids. Shh, hey, do you want to join the Navy? You know, like... Target. They've got a target audience out there.
That's where that title came from, isn't it? They are a target because they're literally going to be targets as well.
Do you like Call of Duty on your PlayStation? It's just the same, the same.
It's very, very similar. Like hiding. Come here.
You sound brilliant for us because they're just on like a tick thing, aren't they? You sign so many people up, they're just telling you fucking anything. I was getting targeted by that sort of stuff because obviously the grades weren't matching up, sort of thing.
Yeah, lucky them, wasn't it, really?
But I can remember because I was all right rugby then, and a private school said, "Oh, you can come here, we'll give you full scholarship." The headmaster was like dead keen. My mum and dad like brilliant, and they said. Well, they said, all you need to do, it's all paid for, everything, you need to get 1 GCSE. And I thought, I've got a problem here.
Did you? Seriously?
No, obviously I didn't get an E. I think the nearest I got was an E.
Oh,
and, me and my mate, Psych, were arguing because he got an F and I got an E. And I was saying, mine's higher than yours. And he's going, F is better than E. And the teacher come over and went, hey, there's no winners here, lads. You know what I mean? Like, they're basically like, hey, you've embarrassed yourselves. You know what I mean? Like that. But
That's
no.
arguing over. Yeah, that's brilliant.
I think it was the G and F. It was something we were arguing like mad outside. And we were like, Jesus. But
Brilliant.
no, but some people just aren't. I could have went to school still till now. I still wouldn't pass.
That's what's so ridiculous about the education system, isn't it?
What's
I mean, my wife's a drama teacher, so she sees it all the time. Of her subject, particularly being, you know, being demoted on a timetable. And even some schools, she's worked at some schools who have scrapped it, so we don't need drama this year. And you're going, that subject is probably the most important subject.
Creative, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, not only that, but
Confidence.
Throughout our lives, we play different roles. You're always acting. And if I get, for example, my kids will tell you this, if I get a guy coming doing some building work on my house, I'm a totally different person. All right, what drill bits you got? Yeah, I've got some tungsten carbide there. Yeah. I've become a totally different person.
Yeah.
And that's because you're trying to fit into all the different areas. You go to, if you go out for a meal, you're a different person in the restaurant. You sit, it's a posh restaurant, you're sitting up straight, you've got elbows off tea, you wouldn't sit like that at home, you'd be there in front of the telly, you'd slouch or whatever and eat your tea. So all these different things, and yet, drama, which teaches you all those skills of how to be and act in a different way, is the least important subject on a school curriculum. It just
same with
makes
music
no
and
sense
stuff like that. Like same with like French. Did you do French or something like that, or language and stuff like?
I did fail, John. Actually, I did fail that.
Who's passing French? Like my second name's Lebbon. Apparently that's distant
surely.
French. The one was like, oh, that means John the Good, you'll be good, and I was definitely not. And I was in like the 4th set for French, and by law or something,
into Le Merle.
you had to do English for the first part of the lesson because you were that low down. I think because you were that special, you had to do English for the first part of your French lesson. There was only like 9 of us. 4 of them couldn't even speak. Do you know what I mean? Like, we were just like thing, and I just remember being.
This is what's ridiculous. There's such an array of skills, and I try to instill it to my kids now. I've got one daughter who just started at university in London doing London College of Fashion. Fashion industry is well overcrowded and it's massively competitive, but there's no way I'm going to say to her, don't bother.
But
it seems to be, I think we grew up in a time when you say, oh no, it's not fair. No, be more realistic. You get that? It's a very British thing to say.
Do you like driving a van?
It's the same way British kids that get told all the time, don't stop showing off. We get showed, all kids, and I bet they don't even have that phrase in America, don't show off, because American kids are showing off all the time. Hey, look at me, I get these grades, I get this, that. And it's accepted because it's great to show off. It is good to show off.
Well, because I was so low in French and another lesson, what they did, I was quite good at swimming. They put me in the special class for swimming, as if like they were all connected. Yeah. So I went out the normal class, and I was saying Chris and Anthony, I got put in the special class for swimming, right? And no word of lie, I don't know old enough. I was sat in the water and it was about that deep. Right, so you could sit in it, so I just sat there with his, and you knew the lads in that class and the lasses were pissing in there because
I was just gonna
it was like Lucas age. You just sat in it and you just thought.
And at least they were warm. I used to go in a cold bath.
The first lesson they did brick. Can you remember brick?
Oh, well, you had to dive for it.
I'd already done 8 metre in the deep end before I got moved into this whatever that class was. Honestly,
what, and they just had it.
Just done it in the Shawland. So they went, oh, we're going to do brick today. I was, what, here? Like that, and they said, because you're new, John.
Just going like that?
I swear down, I just went like that. And they were like, oh, new lad. And I thought, oh my God. Like all the other people just laughing at you like that. And you're playing brick, sat on your ass. Just, look, I can pick a brick up with my hand like that. And I just thought, that's what I mean, when you look back at the 90s school and stuff like that. It's like, can you remember how they used to find knits?
Oh, the woman, the knit nurse would just come in and look for them.
Yeah.
Once a month, probably less than that, wasn't it?
Can you... Did you have knits in your school? Like, is that how they searched knits at yours? That age? Just a woman?
Look at them. They've both got massive beards and loads of hair. They would have shaved heads like us.
The first time we did it, they had a queue. So the nurse was at the front, you queued. My mate, I was second in the queue. Yeah. My mate went up, checked his hair, and they went, go that way. Basically, because you had 2 queues, didn't you?
Oh, God, yeah.
And then picked my hair, and I went the same way as my mate. Yeah. And then the third guy went that way, and we were like, oh, clean your hair. Like, giving him loads of it. The next guy went that way, like, oh, clean your hair, biddies, like that. Yeah. Third guy went that way, and you think, fuck me, am I in the knits queue like that? And it was just basically, because you'd been such a thing of them 3, haven't it? And then everyone else out that way. That's what puts like a pair of gloves on and like, oh yeah, put this petrol in your hair, give that to your mum like that. They sort of just get you out of the class, don't they? Like the smell of that thing, I don't know, your hair didn't fall out. You think,
I know.
imagine mental health like these days, just saying, oh, them two kids, they've got nits. They're going on. Please don't mention it again.
The trauma, they never bothered, did it?
Oh.
Stand in a corner, yeah. I often think about going back to the brick in the swimming pool. The other one was, I remember spending hours and hours trying to get, I think it was me gold swimming badge, and you had to tread water in your pyjamas.
Ah, yeah.
So you're doing that in your pyjamas, and then you'd have to take your pyjamas off while you're still treading water. You get your leg now, and then you get your toe, and then you tie a knot in the legs, and then blew them up. And to this day, people look at me stupid. I do a lot of cruise gigs. Going, oh, okay, I'm the only one walking around during the day in my pyjamas. But John, I'll have the laugh. If that ship goes down, I'm the one having the last laugh. They'll all be that, clamouring for the life rafts, and I'll be going, I'm all right, got my pyjamas on.
That's a skill from school that you just use all the time.
Exactly.
It's the same with like Shakespeare and stuff like that, isn't it? Like you look back at some of the school and you're like, that could have just went that way, couldn't it? I should have maybe not done that.
Most of maths.
My maths didn't get better from 12.
Add up, subtract, times obviously, right? Division, those are the only things you need.
Yeah.
Algebra, no need, ever. No need. I know there'll be some maths teacher who'll argue and say, oh, you're surprised how often you use trigonometry. No, I don't. I'm telling you now, mate, I never need trigonometry.
Same with English and stuff like that. Your basic English is what you use, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I still haven't grasped it, but I mean, like, that basic, like, full stop sentences and things like that.
There's a lot of words that are just not needed, are they?
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
Why is it even a thesaurus? A thesaurus is a book that gives you 5 examples of words that mean the same. Well, get rid of 4 of them then. That's what I'd argue.
Yeah.
Get rid of 4. That dictionary would be like that. We can all learn it then. First couple of years at school, learn the dictionary. I know all my words. That'd be great to do that, wouldn't it? I know all my words now.
Before we finish, I've got to ask you as well for Centre Parks.
All right.
They're shutting Centre Parks on Monday for the Queen, which is just how many days?
Whoever's been in charge of that, there's someone at Centre Parks who is absolutely.
They wanted a day off. They're either out on the Sunday.
They think they know it all. They go, right, I've had a great idea. Right, we've got to show solidarity. Right, so we tell everyone we're shutting it. I'm telling it. No, Maureen, don't be. No, I'm telling everyone we're shutting the parks. And then she's got this back. Like, okay, right, we rethink. No, we won't shut. Tell them not to leave. Don't leave the cabins. It's just incredible, isn't it?
Imagine paying $2,000 or whatever you've paid for your Centre Parks thing to be told that you're not moving.
The only thing,
because you go there on all day. I've never been. I live there.
The only thing I'm surprised is that they're not charging you to stay in your car. I would have thought being Centre Parks, having been there several times with my kids, is I am absolutely, because I always say, I used to talk about it in my stand-up, I used to do a bit at Centre Parks, and I used to say, if you've never been to Centre Parks and you're wondering what exactly it is, the best way to describe Centre Parks, and those who've been will vouch for it, the best way to describe Centre Parks is you think you've paid for your holiday. Have you heck? So everything is extra. So what they should be doing is, they should be saying, right, we've got screens for the funeral, we've got screens, and they're going to be outside every cabin. 150 quid each family.
Yeah.
All right, and then it'd be because you're already in that cycle, in that cycle of Centre Parks. You go, okay, I'll pay it. I used to spend hours with my kids when they were little, because the only free bits, the pool area is free. So you used to go to the pool area. You go to the pool area all the time. So we're like that. Stay to the path. Daddy, horses, 50 quid, 5 minutes, get in the bloody pool. A lot of money.
The other thing as well, I wanted to ask, did you see in the paper about the police put a photo out and it's a guy pulling a Moonie and they're looking for him. So they've only got, I'm going to take it in the window, I'll have a look, honestly, Google it. And it's just a guy's ass.
Trying to identify
trying to identify the ass. Swear down.
It's a crime ring, isn't it?
You can't see his head or anything, it's just his ass. And they've put it out as like an e-fit saying, does anyone, this guy that was Moonie in one of the cameras.
Has anyone got this ringtone?
How much of that, like, how well would you have to know that ass? You'd be like, that's fucking Brian's ass. And it's not even a good photograph, it's just a white ass with a crack that you're like...
Yeah. Oh no! I'm trying to think of any of my mates I could identify. No.
Even your missus, you wouldn't like identify. It could be. It looks a bit bigger.
No.
Well, like
that's great though. Well, I do like the idea that only identified him by his ringtone. I'd like to see the lineup when they do find. I certainly hope when they do get someone in, there's a lineup. So do a
the
proper
arses.
police lineup, and they just all just have to stand up, drop the trousers, and they go, "That's him. That's the one." Brilliant.
What's the famous one that young'uns go on now?
Oh, the Love Island.
Love Island.
Oh, well, I've got 3 daughters on that. So
What's up with, like-
always on the telly. I can't stand the programme. No, it does my head in.
But I mean, I felt sorry for Michael Owen.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if your daughter went on there, like,
yeah.
worst case scenario, she's just going to get off and get felt up. That's best case scenario. Worst case, your daughter's going to get fingered on telly, you know what I mean? Like,
telly.
is that
He's a man who scored a hat-trick for England.
Bella Adore trophy and stuff
It's
like
one
that?
of the youngest goal scorers ever in an England shirt. A football legend. And now, that comes second to the fact that his daughter was a bit of a slapper on a TV. No.
Well, it's a weird one as well, because all the family will watch it, won't they? Your grandma and stuff like that. It's like what we were saying about naked attraction, things like that. Like, you'll have the same group of friends as me. We've all got the same friends. That if you went on there, you'd never live it down, would you?
No.
Like, that would just be a screensaver for the next 35 years. They go back into work.
Yeah.
These are all like normal people. Like, Brian works as a school teacher, and he's just there stood naked, and you're like, "You going to school on Monday?"
Yeah,
like that, and you're like,
exactly.
"I thought this would be the best
roofer.
option."
He's on my roof, him.
Yeah.
He's the lad who's doing our roof every day.
I lacked a bit of confidence, so I've come on and you think, getting
The
naked
only
on
thing,
Channel 4.
the only bit I find fun on that is just watching the screens go up and seeing who's the first to appear, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? So the most well-hung fella.
Oh, right.
You go, "Oh, he's the winner this week. Well done, Red. Well done, Red. You get Whooper, Red, blue. Oh, orange, I still can't see it, and he's gone up.
I'm waiting for
Past his waist, it's his nipple height, and I still can't see it.
I'm waiting for when they have a dwarf or something like that, and he's just waving on the first go, isn't he? It's in his whole body at the bottom.
It's all that as well, isn't it? That's the national language, international language of naked attraction.
But
Hey, do you like it? Do you like it in the bed? Do you like going to bed and having sex?
do you reckon the ones that only get to about there, do you reckon they tell people that went on it? Like, would you tell your family, went out first round, or do you reckon they just like keep it?
They have to reveal. They do eventually reveal them. You see, more people do it, but it's the fact that you have to come out and I tell you the other good game. This is how sad I am at an age that probably I am, but I like to when they go in and they go,
"Oh, I was pleased I wasn't voted off first. Second, I wish I'd done a bit better."
and then do that thing like that, spin around like that, and they've got try and guess what they're going to wear from whatever they wear, from the name.
Oh, like the
That's
normal.
a good game. That you can have that one on me. So what you do, you watch them, and as they walk off, and the little bum cheeks wobble off like that into the dark, and whatever male or female go, "Oh right, look at that, right, she's that kind of, I reckon, floral dress, right, pinched in at the waist. Jeans and a t-shirt, no!"
Well, we were saying it's going that low now. We think the next one, like we talked about, it's saying it'll be like pregnant at first touch, where they have like sex through a wall. They can't see each other, or they like impregnate the woman, and they only meet when he picks her up when she's pregnant, go to the hospital. So that's their first meet, because they have married at first sight, don't they? Pregnant at first touch. And then you just watch them, they hate each other, and they bring up a child neither of them wanted. Do you know, that'll be, give that a year and a half, and I wouldn't be surprised that's on telly.
I'm going to pitch that for you, mate.
Pregnant at first touch?
Let's talk. Straight as soon as we need to talk about that.
I've got a lot of ideas for it.
Monkey
8 couples. That's what I mean, like proper cheesy intro.
Brilliant,
You could present it.
Oh, God. Brilliant.
But anyways, cheers for coming on, Steve. Anyways.
Absolute pleasure, as always, mate.
Cheers, pal.